Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Yes, sir, Bobtail. I'll tell you, we are live, and I am again. I'm really, I'm really glad to be here. My God, we've done what four live streams today through Destiny Global Communications Network. Unbelievable. Trying to get David on here. See if David can hear me. David, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Let me see what's going on here. Let me see what's happening with David here. Uh, he's mute. No, I don't want to mute David. David, can you hear me? I can't hear you yet.
Can you hear
Uh,
me?
I can hear you now. Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes. Oh my God. I tell you,
man.
the work that's been going on here is unbelievable. Let me tell you,
I bet. I bet.
we had four failures this morning, two successes, two failures, and we're turning one of those failures into a success. And
Oh wow.
now is the final product, and it's working on. We're running live on 8 main platforms right now. So this is the first time. There again, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it one more time. This is the first time. This is the big one. So
That's
man,
good.
scary, buddy. Really scary. Let me tell you, there's a lot of scary stuff going on, man. Uh,
Mm,
I've done some really deep diving while you were running around. I've
okay.
done some really interesting shows while you were
Yeah, I've seen
out.
some of those notifications. Yeah, I've seen some of those notifications. Yeah, they I couldn't even load shit in town. My service there in town sucks like that. So I have a
Hmm.
4G phone. System's 5G operational, so my phone's gonna run at 4G speed, 3G dial-up speed. You would say. But yeah, nothing
I
loads like it.
I need to get a 5G, but I can't afford to go
Yeah.
up. We're getting ready to do this fundraiser for my cancer and her disability, so we're
Good.
barely able to hang on to what we
Yep.
got here, which is expensive as hell. Just doing what we're
I hear
doing
you.
here, it's costing us a fortune. But I'm just glad to be up and out. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see senior host Kyler Davenport with senior co-host David Ray. Let me switch over to the times. There we are. Our
Oh
show
wow.
Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and that's through
All right.
Restream. David and I will be on Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Central Time. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 12:58 p.m., May the 15th, 2022. And this morning we have talked so much, I'm probably not going to grind on all of this stuff again. I have made all of you, I think, realize, hey, it's time to pull our shit together, and it's time to come together and quit playing house and quit playing patty cake and stop pretending that everything is going to be okay when it's not. And also, I know it's difficult to listen to this condemnation and this pessimistic type of narrative all the time, but we are living at a very critical time right now, and the crossroads that we are coming up to, you're going to have to be able to make a decision which way to go. And many of you are just not prepared in any way, shape, form, or fashion to make that type of decision. Many of you are on this road that you've chosen that looks so beautiful and so comfortable and so scenic, but yet you're going to find out that it's going to turn from asphalt to rock to
Mm-hmm.
dirt and to mud, and you're going to end up on a dead end. And this is something I'm very concerned about for all of you. As I've said many times before, David and I are not here to come to conclusions necessarily. We're not here to judge. We're not really here to say, hey, we know this, we know that. We're here as observers, we're here as watchers, we're here as researchers, we're here as analysts, and we're here to dig down as deep as we possibly can into these many different variables, these events, these activities that are happening, and be able to give you some kind of clarity as to what might work and what might not work and what might be disinformation or misinformation and how that might affect you and your future of your children, your spouse, your coworkers, your friends, your relatives, distant relatives, whatever. So that's good. We're not here to bang the hammer down. We're not in court and we're not judges and we're not here to, you know, um, we're not here and we're not a cult. You know, a lot of
Hmm.
people have accused us of being cult like. I don't know how that comes up, but it's come up for many talk show hosts over the past year. And I think people just like to judge. I think people just like to point fingers. People like to be jealous of what you're doing. They wish they could do it and they can't. They're too lazy. They're too uneducated. They're not talented enough. They're not experienced enough. They're not brave enough. So they want to put you down. They want to drag you down where they are. And that's the way most people are. They want to drag you down on their level where they are so you can all crawl around together in the mud together. And that's not what we're here about. You know, we're here to lift you guys and girls up into a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of reasoning, a higher level of logic, and get you to see the broad picture, the broad scope of what's happening here in this matrix, in this illusion of physicality and this illusion of this material world that exists only in pure energy, vibration, and frequency. The brain is a master of illusion. And for many of you, some of the things that David and I talk about are going to be very, very difficult to swallow, very, very difficult to comprehend. And many of you will just change the channel, as many of you have already done this morning. Um, you're just not able to deal with any type of advanced analysis, advanced observation, advanced findings, advanced research into these higher sciences and technological advances that we stay on top of all of the time. You know, as I was opening up my recently unclassified documents from the Central Intelligence Agency early this morning about 4:30, I noticed something very interesting, and I started reading about the Hughes Institute. I started reading about some of the experiments that have been going on for years and years concerning remote viewing and telepathy and traveling from this space time to other dimensions. And I started studying how these vibrations and how these electrical impulses and auras and frequencies and attenuations really do work in the body from a mind, body, brain type of paradigm. And I was amazed to find out that the signals from our aorta in our left aorta pumping out into our main aortic valve, into our main aorta, traveling down to the femoral arteries and into the legs. I was amazing to find that those electrical signals actually travel around the world in about 3 nanoseconds every time your heart beats. And there's like 50 different signals that go out per nanosecond around the world from your particular entity, your particular position of angular momentum, mass, volume, uh, um, etc. And I was amazing to find that this is how the collective consciousness seems to work. And it also has a lot to do with communication process when you have a transmitter and you have a receiver. but you have noise in the middle, and there's a lot of noise that are disrupting these electrical signals that are traveling around the world, around the universe, all the time, constantly. Many people are going to have trouble digesting any of this, but it's the way they're creating their super soldiers. This is what I was getting to. I've discovered some very deep, dark, interesting secrets about how they're training their super soldiers and how they're training their agents, and how David and I can actually train you to do the same thing that the Central Agency has been doing for many, many years. It's made public now for the first time. These documents were recently declassified, and I just happen to have them in my possession. Some of these things are mind blowing. Some of these things are exciting, exhilarating, almost orgasmic in their content. To
Doubt.
find out just how much capability you really do have at your disposal. It's amazing. I said the other day we're living at 20% capacity. I think we're living at 4% capacity.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Um, when I read, the more I read these documents and the more I read these studies from these universities and these different labs around the world and these different scientists and technologists and researchers, the more I think, man, we are living in antiquity here, man. We are so far behind the curve of what in the hell is going on here as far as understanding our place in this paradigm, our place in uh, this conglomeration of frequency and vibration and attenuation, um, and you know how difficult it is to ascend into this higher consciousness without learning all the details of what it takes and what kind of practices it takes, uh, and what kind of daily living routine it takes, and what kind of thinking and processing capability it takes to be able to move to a higher level that, say, Einstein was in, or Elon Musk is in, or even Joel Olstein, or T.D. Jakes, or some of the greats that we could mention who have figured these things out and who have studied these techniques and methodologies. Uh, Most people, boy, I tell you what, when we talk about that monkey brain, folks, I'm not trying to put you guys down, but man, there's so many of you that are living in that monkey brain. You don't know how many people. It scares me to death to think, we wonder, why is the United States not doing better? Why are we not making more progress? Why are we not doing this or that or the other? Why are our children being abused? Why are the courts so corrupt? Why is the education system so corrupt? Why are we having a food shortage? Why is our economic system collapsing? Why is the fiat dollar worth absolutely nothing? Why are the banks so corrupt? Ladies and gentlemen, it's all because of your lack of understanding of these higher ways of thinking.
It is.
You're consenting to stupidity. You're consenting to ignorance. You're stuck in the doo doo. You refuse to open your eyes to the potential. And we talked about relationships when David was not here. The reason relationships do not work is because of this immaturity and this baggage that people drag around with them, and this lower monkey brain that people live in, and they're just stuck in the doo doo. They're blinded. They can't see. They refuse to see. They refuse to imagine. They refuse to comprehend. They refuse to study. They refuse to research. They refuse to read. They refuse to do any of these things, and they're just going to live just a very small segment of a doo doo life until the casket door is closed, and they're never going to get to see the full range of opportunities and the breadth and depth and the capacity and the capabilities of the human mind and the human brain in full action. And this is a very sad situation, ladies and gentlemen. This is a crime itself.
Yep.
And I feel like it's our responsibility here on this show to bang this out to you. David, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just because, like you said, like I was one of them type people that just refused to see things for what it was. I didn't recognize any of the signs that that I was having to deal with here with just my whole relationship at home and stuff like that. And so, like, it is a struggle to even understand what it is to be higher consciousness or anything like that. It took me, I don't know, like took me over a year to even just figure out what the hell I was even talking about whenever people were, asking about it and stuff like that. I'm like, I didn't know and all this stuff. But then it was like once it happened and the realization was there, it was like, holy crap, I've been living in this monkey brain because of we've been told that we evolved from monkeys. Well, I guess that's where you got the term we evolved from monkeys because of our brains are monkey brain. If you're living in that monkey brain and you evolve out of that monkey brain into a higher self. So I mean, maybe that's what that's a metaphor for that part. If you take that as a way of seeing shit, I don't know, I see shit weird like that. So to me, that would make sense to the term evolve from a monkey. Once you ascend into the higher consciousness, you evolve from the monkey lower brain to the higher consciousness higher
So
self.
once so once you come out of the trees and you've met with
Mhm.
the extraterrestrials and they have manipulated your DNA and tuned you up a little bit, and
Yep.
now you're out of the trees, and now you've got spears and rocks, and you're learning to build fires and technologies and put on
Mhm.
cosmetics and jewelry, and so you're advancing, and
Yep.
your amygdala is kind of being suppressed, and your upper cerebral cortex is coming alive, and then they
Mhm.
kind of tune you up to a certain point, not too high, but just high enough to be able to be civilized. And
Yep.
here we are, here we stand today, but yet some people have never evolved from that lower brain, and they refuse to ask the question why, or to find out how they can progress beyond where they are. And stubbornness, or mental retardation, or psychosis, or drug addiction, or just whatever, alcoholism, mental illness, whatever the case may be, people refuse to give this a chance. And
Yep.
this is why our society is in such a bad shape right now. And this is why our global situation is so chaotic right now. And this is why we're being taken over by forces that we would prefer not to be taken over by, I don't think. We would prefer not to be slaves. We would prefer not to live in bondage. We would prefer not to live in this terribly destructive world that we're living in right now. And as I said, we can't save everyone, but maybe we can help a few folks to be able to see a few beautiful images of what's beyond space time and into this higher consciousness. They can view some things that are beautiful and ecstatic and wonderful before they pass away. And before this major storm hits, maybe we can prepare them to save up some water, get some canned goods, protect themselves here, protect themselves there, teach them not to talk to the police, which I was talking to a defense attorney earlier,
Mm.
and she was reiterating the fact, Kyler, you can tell people until you're blue in the face not to talk to the police, and the very minute they get stopped, they're going to talk to the police.
Hmm. Yep. Very much.
People are ignorant. They are ignorant. They're just ignorant. And since I found out about this project the CIA has been working on for years, I'm very, very excited.
It's
It
exciting.
it's beyond exciting. It's
Bet.
the capabilities that you possess, we possess,
Hmm.
are just unbelievable. But it doesn't come easy.
No, it doesn't.
You have to take the steps. You have to take the action. You have to make it happen. It's not going to happen unless you decide to take on the practice of meditation, to take on the practice of Bhata Yoga, to take on these practices of these Eastern philosophies and these breathing techniques. And it's not going to happen without putting in the fucking work.
Hmm. Yep.
And, my advice is for everyone to get away from these enslavements, these distractions, these dramas, these these chaotic situations you're living in. Free yourself from them. Get away from them. You're codependent. You're sick. You're dysfunctional. You're psychotic. You're spoiled. You've gotten used to this routine,
Hmm.
and it's not helping you. It's not helping you to progress. It's not helping you to move forward. It's not helping you to heal. You're not doing your kids a favor. You're not doing yourself a favor. And you're not doing your spouse or other half a favor. And you need to cut the ties. All of you, I'm telling you, every one of you out there that are having these problems, and if you feel enslaved, and if you feel beat down, and if you feel less than a man or less than a woman, somebody is abusing you psychologically or verbally or spiritually or philosophically or any other way, get the fuck out of there now. Don't waste any fucking time. Get the fuck out of there now. Yes, there will be repercussions. Yes, there will be heavy sacrifices to make. Yes, there will be hardships. Yes, there will be a lot of horrible things happen, but you have to escape this insanity. It's wrong for you to live the rest of your life in this bondage, in this sickness. It's wrong. You're cheating yourself out of life. You're cheating
Hmm.
your
Pretty
children
much.
out of life.
You are. That's what I've done. And
You
then now it's
know,
time to make that change.
and you're just existing. Who wants
Hmm.
to just exist?
Not me. Not this guy no more.
You know. And I'm going to say it again. It's hard to get away from the pussy. It's hard to get away from the routine. It's hard to get away from the children. It's hard to get away from the comfort zone. As abusive as it is, it's still some kind of a comfort zone that your brain gets used to. And you don't want to leave the nest because you're afraid you'll fall and hurt yourself. It's dangerous down there. It's dangerous out there. It's unknown, you know. At least where you are, even though you're being abused and beat up, at least you know what's going to happen to you today and tomorrow and the next day. When you leave the nest, you have no fucking idea what's going to happen to you. And I'm not talking to you, David. I'm talking to everybody that's
No.
listening tonight.
Oh yeah, no, no, no. Me and you've already talked about this anyway. So, um, I'm just, everything's all about timing and stuff like that. So that's how I know that I know what I need to do, because there's things that just kind of have been subtle signs here and there, from people, individuals, not even individuals, and directly, sometimes indirectly stuff. Just, so like, yeah, it's, you start seeing it, and then you realize it's just that time.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to reiterate how hard it is to separate from even abuse, how hard it is to separate from the drama, from the routine. You get so connected to the dysfunction, it becomes a part of your normal existence.
It does. It
And
really does.
that's the rub. That's the rub. That's the hard part right there.
It is.
because you may have never realized your full potential. You may have
Nope.
never realized that, hey, I can be anything I want to be. I can go anywhere I want to go. I can do anything I want to do. You may have just never realized that. You may have been beat down, you all out there listening. You may have been beat down so far. I've heard women tell me that they were beat down so far they thought they were nothing but whores, that they were good for nothing but just to be a whore, just to be abused, to be hurt, to be put down. They felt like a dirty dish rag. They had been programmed so much by their husbands, abusive husbands. And we talked about earlier the 0 to 18 years old, you're programmed with 148,000 negative
Hmm.
programming lines of code. Did you think about that, David? How unbelievable that is?
I mean, it really didn't take me long to, figure it out because, like, as soon as you said something about that, like, I was already doing the math in my head for, when I was a kid, and then, as my kids have been kids too. So yeah, yeah, I see it. Because it was kind of just like same thing, but that, you have to make that choice to change that um, language to, teach them not to be that way and teach them to be positive about themselves.
Language is frequency.
Mm,
Language sets up our cognition of who we are and what
yep.
we're about and what we're capable of doing. And language also allows us to trust those around us or not. Language allows us to be accepting of people who are around us or in fear of people who are around us. Language sets us up for psychosis or it sets us up for uh, psychological stability and happiness and
Mm.
balance and synchronicity. So, language does all of this through frequency and attenuation and vibration and energy.
So negative words got negative energy. Positive words got positive energy. It's I got
Yes.
words have power, and people just don't believe it anymore. And that's where when you don't believe these things in yourself anymore, you release all your power from within. Basically, when you just don't believe in that stuff anymore, you just completely don't even believe in yourself at all. That's when all your power is released. But when you finally realize that you can regain your power back by getting that power through other means of maybe positive influences or just by trying to understand somebody's other perspectives or something. And it just starts making a change. It's not like going to be an instant change. It might take a year, two, three. Who knows? It took maybe a year and a half for me to 2 years to get to where I'm at right now.
Hmm.
So, to me, that's wow, 2 years. And I've been doing what I've been doing, trying to get things out there to people to let them know and trying to give that knowledge and information to people and share it. And, and over the 2 years, I'm here on the radio, on this live stream with you.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
do what you got to
Hmm.
do and you'll become what you got to be.
Exactly. Exactly. You're moving up in the world. You're becoming better person. You're becoming
Yep.
a higher thinker. Your higher thinking capabilities are growing. Your
Hmm.
ability to make critical thinking decisions are growing. Your
Yep.
comprehension level is growing. Your analytical skills are growing. You're educating yourself. And so these are all good, positive things.
Yep.
And it would be nice if we could help those that are really sick
Yep.
get into this mode of thinking. But they won't come to the table. Most of them will not come to the table.
Now, there's going to be only a few that will come to the table, but the rest are just going to be like, I don't know if I can do it, But then, at the same time, that's for you to decide. That's where you decide your choice to do something or not, And that's what I did. I did something. I just said, fuck it. I just went with it. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I was just creating shit, and it was getting better and better each time I created something. So I was like, oh hell yeah! And so then I was like, just keep going with it, and it's.
The
So just
key
don't ever think you're doing something dumb. It's
you
doing
bring
something good.
you bring up a good point again. The changes that you make need to be conscious changes. They need to
Hmm.
be, you need to be aware of your awareness. You need to be
Yes.
aware of your lack of awareness.
Mhm.
You need to be conscious of this new consciousness.
Yeah.
So you're actually stepping back and taking a look at yourself as an extended uh, being.
Yep. It's like
That
from
get a,
the saying, an outer body experience type. That's where
yeah,
your outer
yeah.
body experience is when
You
you're
get a
looking
better,
from it. Yeah.
you get a deeper view of yourself.
Mhm.
Because
Very.
it's really hard to analyze yourself. It's really hard to look at yourself unless you get these practices, start practicing these different methodologies. It's very hard to look at yourself because your brain likes to do the same thing over and over again the same way. It
Mhm.
doesn't like to change. Your
No.
brain will try to talk you out of every positive change. Your brain will try to talk you out of every single thing that you're thinking about doing. That
Hmm.
happens, doesn't it, to you? It happens to you all the time, doesn't it?
That still happens to me all the time. Yeah. But then I like as soon as like, hold on a minute. Why the, you, and then I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? It's just because it's still something there that is that I need to eliminate and finally break it of. And there's cycles that you have to break when you're doing these things. So like if you're in a cycle of something, you have to break it within that cycle of whatever the cycle times are to be able to free that one type of cycle that you might be in too.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's all about timing on some of this stuff too, and how you evolve, and when your timing is evolved into that perfect time. So it's like when you evolve into that spot where you're wanting to get, and you finally think that positivity and bringing it, it will get you there. And like what I did for meditation was I went outside. I didn't work for 3 months because COVID hit, so I didn't work for 3 months there for a little while too. In the summer, after um, I was let go from Walmart for helping during the first couple weeks, but I started digging up all these rocks in my yard, or digging rocks out of the woods, because I got tired of my yard just looking like dirt and rocks in it, and nothing was really done with it. And so there was something done. So I was like, screw it. I found all these rocks down in the woods, and then come find out there's a bunch of crystals down here. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I find a spot where there's a bunch of big old chunks of it. And I started digging them out. Every time I pull up a big rock, there'll be a whole bunch more right underneath it. And I'm like, wow, where did all these come from? Dig all those out. There's even more, big ones, little ones, everywhere. So I was healing myself without even knowing it at that time.
Mhm.
And I was healing myself through nature, rewiring myself to bring that positivity back into myself. And at the same time, I was getting a workout doing it because I would take a wheelbarrow down there, fill it up with all these rocks that I could, big rocks, little ones, and I'd wheelbarrow it all the way up this hill and bring them all the way up here. And then I'll lay them all out. After I done blowed the yard down, got it all cleaned up, make it look good to where it was just nothing but dirt and roots. And now I got moss and all these rocks in my yard are beautiful. And right now I need to clean it up. So I'm not going to show you what it looks like right now, but
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that was healing. That was repairing myself from all the damage, and made me work on myself, think about myself. I was going to counseling too, so that helped me think about the things that my counselor would tell me to do. The techniques to help me, uh, coping mechanisms. I'd say he would call them. So just help me try to get those things lined out, and then it helps. And so, like, if you don't have those kind of tools and never know those kind of tools, yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. But
You
it's going
remind
to,
me you remind me of a story of the master in the temple who had a lot of monks around him who had been around for a long time and had tenure and were very important to the monastery.
well,
And one day a stranger came into the monastery and asked to see the master, and he was dirty and he was disheveled and he was just terrible looking. He hadn't eaten. And the monks laughed and giggled and oh, they made fun and oh, who is this idiot and who is this tramp? And so he wanted to see the master. And
yep,
finally, they allowed him. They took him to the master, and they were all standing around watching. And he asked the master, he said, Master, can you please show me the way? Can you please show me the way to higher consciousness, to better living? Can you please show me the way? The master said, You're a pig. You're a pig. You're a dirty, filthy pig. Get out of my sight. Go out and sleep in the barn. Leave me now. And the monks just laughed. Oh, they thought this was the greatest thing in the world. Oh, they thought this was just the greatest thing in the world. And he went out and he went into the old barn with the horses and the pigs and the sloth and the goats. And he slept in the dung all night.
Mm.
The next night, he went to the master that evening. Same thing. You're a pig. You're a filthy pig. You don't deserve to be in my presence. Go sleep in the dung. He went to sleep in the dung. This went on for 3, 4, 5 months. He
Mm.
came back. He came back to the master. Master, can you please, please show me the way? He was down at the master's feet. Can you please, please show me the way? He said, You have had your time in the barn. You have done what I have asked. He said, Now I want you to go pound the rice for all of the monks. And I want you to do that for 3 years. He said, Master, pound the rice? He said, Pound the rice. But what else shall I do, Master? Pound the rice and continue pounding the rice. Now go and leave me. He pounded the rice for 3 years, and he fed all of the monks and all of the great hierarchy in the monastery. He was made fun of every single day. They would throw rocks at him, they would throw sticks at him, they would trip him when he came into the main hall. They treated him like a dog. They treated him worse than a dog.
Mm.
He pounded every single day. He pounded the rice in the cauldron every single day until his arms were bloody. And he slept in the dung in the barn for 3 years. The master got sick at the end of that 3 years. The master was getting old and very sick and very decrepit. And it was time to choose someone to take his place. And all of the monks who were in fine dress and fine crowns and fine jewels and fine knowledge and fine wisdom and fantastic sayings and slogans of the Buddhist tradition all knew that they would be the one to be chosen. One evening, the master called the monks that led the monastery to his side. The others were looking on. He said, Go and get me the boy who's been pounding your rice. And he came in to the master, and everybody was there. 150, 200 monks gathered around. He said, My son, you will take over this monastery and this kingdom. You have done the work. You have found the way to self enlightenment. You have the discipline, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the fortitude to carry on this monastery and to lead all of these people. He said, I bid you farewell. And he died.
Mm.
And the monks were just, their mouths dropped to the floor.
Mm. Man.
Now, what is the point to this
Mm.
story that deals with David Ray King?
Um, every bit of it, every bit of it, straight up. Like the whole, like no matter like when you just the way it was, just like the whole story and just the way the things like that, and like right there at the last, like right when you start getting to the end, like I was starting to get chills and shit. Like yeah, that resonates. That resonates. That's higher self resonating with me.
He did the time, you see.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't bitch. He didn't
Did it.
moan. He didn't talk back. He didn't ask stupid questions. He didn't chant fantastic Buddhist slogans. He just did the time. He did what the master asked him to do,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Self-sacrifice.
found he awakened. He found his awakening through that labor.
Yep.
And so I think a lot of people need to get the moral of that story. Many won't. Many won't.
No, many won't. Many will just like, well, that's kind of cool story, you know. But if it resonates where you have chills, or you just have like hair standing up on the back of your neck type stuff, or you just cried just that time. I mean, I was about to cry just about, so just saying. Don't call me a crybaby then, but
The last
still, but
the
yeah,
last the last quick story I will tell
okay,
is the student came to the master and he asked the Zen master, "Master, where is the way? What is the way, master?" And the master answered, "My son, the way is in the piss and the dung of this world."
yep,
Now, no one but one person in 5 years has been able to answer that riddle or decipher or discern what that master was saying.
you have to start from the bottom to get your way to the top to get to where you're wanting to go. You have to put the work in to get the things that you want.
And
So,
and 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 also the universe is in the smallest drop of rain. The
yep.
universe is in the smallest tear dropping from your eyes.
And smallest cell in your body.
Yes, the universe is in what you may see as nasty and dirty and filthy is just a greater part of the universe.
Mhm.
But Zen masters will always try, and I'm a Zen master. I've been in Zen for 16 years. Zen
Wow.
masters will always try to run you off. They'll always try to beat you down, and they do beat you down with their sticks
Yeah.
at the monastery. They beat you bloody.
Yeah.
They will try to beat you every way possible. They will try to confuse you every way possible. They will try to deter you every way possible.
Yeah.
And there's only a very, very few that make it to the point where they can do the three-way gravity stick trick,
Or standing on the stick or whatever.
standing on that stick at an angle, totally
Yeah.
laid out at a
Yeah.
45. Very few
Yeah.
make it. Very few make it to that point. And these Zen kung fu masters, they do some heavy, heavy lifting. They talk about Navy SEAL training. These
Yeah.
guys can chew Navy SEALs up and spit them out all over the floor all day long.
Damn.
But so it's there again. Most people are lazy. This
Mhm.
whole thing has a point.
It
Most
does.
people are just dead lazy. They want to lay around on the couch all day and get fatter and fatter and fatter. They want to eat the wrong foods. They don't want to exercise. They don't want to drink the proper
Mhm.
uh, drinks. They don't want to think the proper thoughts. They don't want to do the work. They just want everything to happen for them and around them,
Given
and
to
they'll
him.
just accept any old thing that comes along, like an old dog running around in the back of a 7-Eleven somewhere, a stray dog. and you're
Mm-hmm.
not ever going to really rise in your consciousness. You're never really going to make any great progress like that.
Nope,
You got
not at
to
all.
do the work. You got to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what else can I show you here? I'm going to put the show up one more time. There it is. And we are on Monday through Friday on Zoom. I wish you guys would come over. As I said before, we talk about the latest science and technologies. We talk about the New World Order, which is kind of a silly word that people are overusing, kind of like
Oh, hey,
love. I love
I did.
you.
Yeah, that's true there too. So with that New World Order thing, so I seen a meme earlier today said something about what if the old world order wants you to be opposing against the New World Order? Like what? Hold on a minute, wait. And so that just was like kind of an interesting question. And I was like, oh wow, that's kind of
Kind of
interesting. So
oxymoronic,
yeah,
kind of an
yeah,
oxymoronic,
yeah.
kind of a reverse psychology kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was like, ooh, that's kind of funny.
No, what has happened? What has happened is over the millennia, these ideas and
Mm-hmm.
concepts and desires and philosophies have emerged or evolved over time, and of course, many people with many perceptions and ideas and concepts and philosophies and belief
Mm-hmm.
systems and from different castes and traditions and religions and ideas and ideals have come together in these different formats to form what we have today, what is manifested today, which is a very complex and confusing matrix. There has been no real continuity in any of this progress that has been made or any of this evolution that has taken place. And people have gone their separate ways. People have been divided in their thinking, in their philosophies, in their religion, in their politics, in the way that they think the world should run, the way they think children should be raised, the way they think the financial systems should operate, the way they think capitalism should be, or anarchy should be, or socialism, or communism, or humanism, or agnosticism, or any other ism. So there's so many
Jism.
different ways to look at things, so many different perspectives, and the wise man or woman will look out as a watcher, as an observer, and will look at all of these different things happening and put a shield around them to where they're not going to come in and kill them or hurt them, but observe these things without judgment
Mm-hmm.
and watch these things happen and realize that these things do happen. This is what life is all about, is these manifestations coming forth in their many
Mm-hmm.
different forms and shapes and ways. And this is what higher wisdom allows you to do. And the
Yep.
best thing, to do is to hang around with people of like mind.
Yes. Very
Try to
much.
find people of like mind. You don't want to run around with people that are ignorant, stupid.
Nope.
If you have an IQ of 110 or 120, you don't want to run around with people with an IQ of 75.
Definitely not.
You want to be healthy. You want to be healthy. You want to run around with people that are on the same wavelength as you are, on the same frequency as you are, and have the same types of quest for wisdom and understanding as you do, or otherwise you're going to live a very, very terrible, terrible, terrible life, a very, very abusive uh, life. And you're never going to make any real progress above and beyond where you have put yourself right now.
Yep.
And kind of like the monk, the student pounding the rice, you're pounding the rice right now,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
and people are watching you, whether you know it or not.
Mm-hmm.
The masters are watching to see how you handle your situation. I'm talking to all of you out there right now.
Oh, yeah.
People are watching you, people are observing you, and your energy is springing forth, whether it be negative energy or positive energy. And this is going to affect your potential to be able to manifest in your life.
Yep.
to be able to fulfill your dreams and your desires and your wants and your needs. So remember, your thoughts are
Mm.
things. We will go now, and I hope all of you will come to see us. You see our times and our days there on the screen. If you need to email me, there's my email for you guys who want to email me who need counseling or advice or consultation on any of these different issues in life that I can be of assistance with. I will be glad to help you. And we are going to put up a fundraiser over the next 2 to 3 weeks to try to raise $3,500. 3,000. I think we're going to go for $3,000. I think that's fair.
Okay.
Marion and I really need that to stay alive, to stay afloat. I'm not going to whine and cry and moan and bitch and yawn and yell about how poor we really are and how sick we really are, but it's not good. And sometimes for me to just sit here and do what I do is a struggle. And sometimes Mary, it's a struggle for her to continue to help me do what we do here. But we do it
Yep.
because we know we have to. We know we have to. It's in our blood. It's in our bone. It's in our breath. It's in our
Mm.
very essence. So we're going to be here no matter what. Even if we're homeless and we're behind a 7-Eleven trying to grab a Wi-Fi from underneath a tree, we're going to be here. But I think all of you should try and help us. I really do, because we've helped so many
Yep.
people over the years. We've helped so many families and children. We've helped so many people in hospice. We've worked with senior citizens who were being abused and molested and raped and killed and tortured. And we have worked with so many homeless people and so many mentally ill people. And we built so many shelters and fed so many people. You know, we used to feed 5,000 people a month when we worked at the main warehouse in North Texas.
Mm.
And we would load those trucks proudly and we would deliver to those churches and we would deliver to those food banks. We fed 5,000 people a month, and we got dogged out for that, and we got put down for that because we found out they were stealing. We found out they were uh, taking in donations to the church for the poor black community, and they had opened a store up on the middle class side of town and were selling all the goods. And we found out they were stealing food and giving it to certain cars in our line, which there would be 150 cars in our line every month.
Oh.
And they were stealing and they were giving some people extra things and extra jewelry and extra this and extra that. And we found out and we got fired. We didn't get fired. We got blackballed. We got tortured.
Mm.
We got beat up and we were left homeless with nothing because we exposed the fraud
Mm.
from these religious zealots.
Oh, I was watching a show today. This guy made a good point. He said, "I don't." He says, "I don't trust any organized religion." I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "This is on a TV show," and he's straight up out loud to, "I don't." I don't. Oh no, I don't trust no organized religions. So I know. I mean, maybe there was something there that he was trying to get people to know that are asleep, that are watching TV all the time, but they don't.
People need to come out of these brick and mortar buildings. If you'll read the Hebrew, the Sanskrit, if you'll go back, people need to come out of these. These were never sanctioned. These were
Mm-mm,
never sanctioned brick and mortar buildings with people dressing up in fine clothes, going to hear some guy talking about some fictional story that happened somewhere long ago. It's just completely boggles my mind how
it's
people
like,
can get caught up in this shit.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
You would
Like,
be better off to go to a Tibetan monastery and just stay there like I did when I went
yeah,
to Australia and I went into silence for 6 months. I couldn't
them.
speak for 6 months. I had to
Mm,
eat rice and broth is all I could eat for 6 months. I slept on a concrete slab every night with one
mm,
pillow. I could not speak for 6 months. That was
Damn.
my rice pounding. That was my rice pounding. That woke me up. That made me go into myself,
Yeah.
you see.
I see there.
So awakening takes great sacrifice.
It does. Very much.
You guys take care. We love all of you in a digital kind of way. And as I said before, if you come on our show to bitch, moan, and gripe and tell us how much you know and how smart you are, don't come at all. And if you come to try and bring us to your Savior, don't drop by. You know,
I'm my own savior.
if you come with something very interesting to say and some interesting things to discuss and talk about, fine, come on. But if you're coming to proselytize or politicize or tell us about the new GOP and how wonderful it's going to be to get another Republican in office or another Democrat in office, well, David and I are political atheists, and we know that the GOP and the Democratic Party are just two wings on the same crow.
Hello.
And
People
they're all in
see that?
bed together, and they're all in bed with China, and they're all in bed with North Korea, and they're all in bed with, Xi Jinping, and they're all in bed with these tyrants and these dictators, and we know
I got a
all
dick
these things.
for him.
So don't come trying to educate David and I on
No.
geopolitics 101,
I don't want to hear that
because
shit. I don't want to hear
we
nothing.
already we already been there. We know it's a game. We know the game. We know what's going on. And David and I will also go into depth on the birth certificate and the straw man next week. And we'll
Yes.
talk about this straw man. We'll talk about how this straw man works. And we won't tell you how to become a sovereign or a sovereign citizen or any of that bullshit. But we will
Mm.
tell you that how these central banks work and how all of this came into existence and all of this contracting has gotten you in trouble. And when you signed that birth certificate, you signed your children over to the state. You do
Sure
not
did.
possess your children. You do not own your children. You do not control your children. Your children are not yours. Period.
And people be like, "Oh, they can't do that." Well, bullshit. They did. They done it a
Your
long time ago without you even fucking knowing.
your
That's how
car
bad it is.
Your car is not yours. Your house is not yours. Your boat is not yours. Your jet skis are not yours. Your golf clubs are not yours, and your children are not yours. They can be taken anytime they want, any way
Mm-hmm.
they want, anywhere they want, for any reason they decide. So remember that, folks. Get mad, get pissed off. I don't give a shit. Do your own research, do your own
Mm-hmm.
studying, do your own reading, and do your own critical thinking. And if you can't do that, then fuck you. Y'all take care. David and I will see you tomorrow
All right.
night. David, take care.
Yep.
I'll see you, buddy.
You
Love
too,
you,
brother.
man. Bye bye.
Love you. Bye.